Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Uh, uh. Hello, everybody. Nick here, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. So I thought I'd do a quick live just to update you all, see how you're all doing, catch up, see how, what's what. I was going to do it with Chris this afternoon. However, sorry, Chris, I'm having issues with my mobile phone. So I'm unable to get hold of you. What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. So, yeah, what's to catch up with? Well, as you say, there's a list of videos I'm making prior to me going into hospital so that people can catch up. Hi, observation post Charlie, how you doing, mate? Basically, so that I've got videos set up to progress it each week whilst I'm recuperating. Hiya, Katrina, how you doing? So it's just, yeah, sat here, done a bit of admin and all the rest of it, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go live, see who's out there, do a bit of catching up. You have to excuse me grunting and groaning. The back down where this kidney is giving me hell. It feels like somebody's booted me in the back. It really is quite uncomfortable. I'll be glad to get the bloody thing out, to be honest with you. So latest update on everything there. Yeah, they pretty sure it's kidney cancer. But it's been caught early. It hasn't gone, as far as they can tell at the moment, beyond the kidney. So, uh, yeah, it certainly has, mate. So they don't think it's gone beyond the kidney. So they reckon getting the kidney out is going to be the answer, and then we will just take baby steps after that and push forward. Observation shows post Charlie. Yeah, I've been watching your videos, mate. Now you don't get a lot of comments from me. And the reason being is I watch the majority of them downstairs on TV with Kaz in the evening, and it's difficult enough to comment on there. But I usually put a like up for people. Um, TJ, hello mate, how you doing? So, yeah. So what we've been doing, I basically had a long one last night. Talk about one of them rough ones. So we had an extra couple of quid set by it this month after this month's accounts are sorted out. So me and Kaz thought, do you know what? We'll treat ourselves. We'll have a Chinese takeaway. That Chinese takeaway about 8 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, Caroline was ill. She was violently ill and had to hit the sack. She was rough as well. It was one of those definite cases of food poisoning. So she came up and I came up and I just carried on doing the videos. What have I done so far? So there are four, four videos in the bank. There are now four knife videos we've done. So hopefully that gives, especially for new people, some ideas, some methodology, some tips and tricks. And so what I've done, I've sort of done selecting the knife and how I personally go about selecting my knives. I've done one on knife maintenance and sharpening, which is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons because everybody's got their own technique and method, and everybody reckons theirs is the best. Well, it is for them because it's a method they've learned to use and perfect. So again, I tried to break that down to oil stones and wet stones and showing two techniques, two different methodologies on that, so that it gives somebody a starting base. Not so sure I explained it quite as well as I imagined it in my head, but hopefully it'll come across okay. And thirdly, for that, I also did another video, which again you'll see over the next couple of weeks, which was I sort of called it EDC specialist tools, and it was really some of the oddities I've got in my knife selection and some of the stranger tools that I use and bits and pieces you don't see that often, but I've usually got it dumped somewhere around in my kit and had a little bit of a walk through and talk through on those. Really, just hopefully to create a bit of something for you guys to watch and enjoy. And like I say, anybody that's new to this sort of thing gets a bit of a excuse me, gets a bit of a tip, an idea, and it's one of the things I suggest anybody that's doing YouTube does. I mean, there are lots of guys on YouTube telling you they're the expert. The man when it comes to shopping. You are. I'll agree with you. You're the man for your technique, for you. I've been teaching for donkey's years, and it's something I learned was, it's you're constantly learning. You're constantly learning new techniques and methods, and if you can't sort of watch somebody else's technique method and either take something from it or at least understand why they use it, then it's a bit negative. So it's a case of, even when I'm watching somebody do something, and sometimes I'll sit there and go, I know exactly what he's going to do next. I know exactly what he's going to do next. I'll still go through the process just in case he's added something later on that's new to me. And I think, blimey, that's good. The knife, I think the best one for me out of it all was the knife maintenance, and especially covering things like sheaths and scabbards, which I'm not going to say too much about it now, but yeah, it's, to me, in knife maintenance, which I do very regularly. Basically, every time I come back from the woods, they get cleaned, oiled, and put away. But they're in the sheaths and that. That's one not many people think of, and I've had to repair many a knife for somebody that's picked up a bit of damp in the sheath, or the scabbard, whatever you want to call it. Charlie, that's it. We never stop learning. It's one thing we gain with age, isn't it? Age breeds wisdom, and the wisdom to look at things with the realization that you're not that clever. There's always something else. There's always something on the subject. It's funny how I think back to when I was young. I thought I knew it all. I know it all. Who's this old boy trying to tell me what, But again, it's a learning process. I want to learn how to make pouches and sheaths. Oh, mate, do excuse me. That's an Owen. Hello, Owen. How you doing, brother? Just bear in mind you're live at the moment.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, when you talk about EDC, everyday carry.
Yeah.
Do you mean everyday carry that you just carry every day, or everyday carry that I carry when I'm out in the woods, or everyday?
No, I mean the genuine everyday carry. Those few items you throw in your pocket every single day. If you were to get up, go shopping, or get out and go for a wander, or go for a walk around the block with the dogs, those items that you literally will not leave the house without. For a lot of people, it's as simple as their keys and their phone. But is there anything else that you always think to yourself, yeah, I like to have that with me, no matter how small or large it is, just that genuine everyday carry?
Okay. Because I was thinking about my car, my car always has my engineering toolbox in the back of it.
Yeah.
And it's not something I can carry, but it's definitely something that, if I get a call, I have it in the boot of the car.
Something.
And then I have that forgot me box, which kind of has all the things that I might need.
Yeah.
In that, But yeah, I would be one of these simple people that just has the phone.
Well,
and the keys.
That's exactly it, isn't it? It's getting back to we see lots on YouTube with people going, "This is my EDC," and they'll show a pouch, but that EDC is what they take to the woods or they take on a mission. An everyday carry is those couple of items that you've always got in your pocket. That, like I said to me, one is my cord around my neck with a small torch, fire whistle, my pen knife that goes in my pocket, my mobile phone. That's really my genuine EDC. It's what I have with me every day. If you stop me up the town and go, "Mickey, have you got a pen knife?" I'll pull out the pen knife. If I'm trying to signal or let somebody know, because I'm not a particularly good shouter these days, so I've got my whistle. Surprising. Blow a whistle in a town centre, see how many people react to it. People stop absolutely dead. It's just an ingrained thing,
so
I suppose.
One thing I always have on the back of my bag is a whistle.
Yeah, that's it. Right, Katrina says hi to you, Owen. You got a hi from Katrina, a hi from TJ.
Hi, Katrina. Bring TJ.
So, yes, it's funny. We're doing a live there, and we're doing a live there.
Just about to hit the woods now, Mick.
Just hitting the wood line, are you?
Sorry for disturbing your life.
Mate, that's not a problem, mate. I was only waffling. Okie doke. Owen, have a safe one.
All right, peace. Take care.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Catch you later, brother. Yeah, so there we go. Owen, he's off walking up the mountain today, so that's a quick catch up with him. And that was a question I asked him, or I've put to him and a couple of others. I was genuine EDC. I've been watching a lot of videos just lately of people pushing out EDC kits that they're selling, and some of these kits are quite bulky. And I'm like, yeah, well, how do you carry that every day if you've not got a rucksack? And let's face it, I carry a bag quite regularly, but I haven't always got a rucksack with me. I don't always need water. I don't, so what do I genuinely not leave home without? So my father wouldn't leave home without a penknife, okay, which is where I got it from. So I don't leave home without a penknife unless I'm going somewhere where bladed items are absolutely illegal, in which case I usually leave it in the car till I get back to it. I'll also, like I say, got my necklace around my neck, and I've got my mobile phone. That's my genuine EDC. And my EDC around my neck, and it's a tip I'll give anybody, especially if you're getting a bit older like me, get yourself a set of dog tags made up. Okay, my dog tags for me, these are my original, well, not my original set, about my third set, but that's got my blood group in it. It's got my name on it. It's got my army number on it. Okay. Now, I would suggest to anybody that's a civilian, have a dog tag made, have your name put on it. Yeah. Have NOK next to kin, right? Phone number. And if you know your blood group, maybe your blood group, turn it over as well. Have some more info put on that side. And wear it, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things, it's like an SOS bracelet, but a lot cheaper. It means that at least if you're found unconscious, they've got a little bit of basic information. They can start figuring out all your issues. And if you've got a next to kin marker and number on there, they can phone somebody and go, right, we found a guy, he's got a dog tag around his neck. It says Mick, and it's got your name and number as next to kin on the back. Oh, bugger, Mick's gone down. All right, no, you got to know this guy's got a bit of a heart condition, or this guy's got this, or this guy's got that. It's that information. They can start the ball rolling. But one of the hardest things is for a medic, a paramedic, or anybody like that is dealing with a casualty you know nothing about. He's unconscious. He's there on the floor. Is it a heart condition? Does he have diabetes? Is he an alcoholic? Could it be drugs? What could it be? If you can just get hold of that one person and say, no, he doesn't drink, he definitely doesn't do drugs, but he does have a bit of a trouble with his blood sugars. All right, speeds up the whole process, and it confirms things to them. Because again, they can do blood tests, they can do sugar tests and things there. That just tells them the blood sugar's low. That doesn't tell them why the blood sugar's low. Okay, and that can be caused by many different things. So again, it's a simple little thing that will go a long way towards helping you. Now, so you were saying about sheaths and things. Right, okie doke. Let's get into a bit of that. Okay. So, the simplest sheath construction in the world is the Nordic style sheath, which is like that. Now, that's a Nordic style. Comes from the Scandinavian countries, okay? So the knife slides it in and the sheath starts to cover the handle. Now, if you look at the construction of this, it's quite a simple construction. It's one piece of leather, okay? So literally the methodology to this is start with a square piece of leather, lay the knife down, fold it around it, draw an outline, give yourself a little bit of excess. Once you have that, normally what I use is a bulldog clip like that, which will help me keep the pinch, keeps the leather together. Okay. Now, what you can then do is punch it and sew it. Now, all the holes you see in that are punched. Now, let me dig out my kit. Bear with me 2 seconds. I'm going to go away from the camera. I haven't run away. I'm just going to dig out a bit of kit to show you. And hopefully that'll help you progress and pick up the methodology, because I do a lot of my own leather work. Quite enjoy it. It's very therapeutic. It's one of those things that's absolutely fantastic for just sitting down and doing. Right, sewing kit. Sewing kit is over there. Okay. Right. So, the first thing you want, and definitely not like when I first started, my wife's breadboard, because you're going to ruin it, but you want a reasonable board that you can put a bit of pressure into, stamp into. So once we've got, if you imagine that without the thread in there, so we've got our 2 pieces of leather that are pushed together like that. They're matched up. You've trimmed them. You've found the shape that you require. You're going to come in on this one. It's about 3 or 4 millimeters. I normally like to do 5 millimeters in from the edge. And then what you're going to do, you're going to mark a line. Usually I use just a pencil of where I'm going to sew. Then you require one of these. Now, let's hold it a bit further away. So this little tool has 4 little spikes on it. They come with 1 spike, 6 spikes. Let's find a small one. There you go. Single spike, 2 spikes. Okay, so any number. And what you do with this, you put your leather down on your board and you place that on your leather and you punch it. And you punch it through your leather, all the way through your leather. Then you move along so that the last tine in there fits in the last hole, so that it keeps an even spacing, and punch it again. And you work your way all the way down your leather. And what that does, that puts the punch holes in your leather so that you've got holes already in there. Then what you're going to do is you take a piece of thread. Now, this thread's not expensive. You can buy it back. So you can buy it from Amazon. Same as you can the punches. And this is a waxed nylon thread. Okay. You can get waxed cotton. I actually tend to prefer the waxed nylon because it's a little bit more durable. Okay. It lasts a little bit better out in the wild. So the cotton is, nice and traditional. But really and truthfully, if I'm making it, I want it to last. So, next step. All right. Next step is going to be the needles. And I've got to think to myself, where did I place the needles? Bear with me. Needles are going to be over there or over there. Right. This is a pain in the bum because I don't know what I've done with my needles. I'll have to dig them out. I'll do a tuitional video on it, but basically, you've now got all your holes in there. So, if you can imagine, what you do is you thread a needle. In fact, actually, I know where I've got a needle. This is quite important. Because this is another one of those things that's got a little bit of technique and method to it. And if you've got once you've seen the technique and method, it starts to make a bit of sense. And being that I'm a bit thick, I sometimes find it hard to explain things and easier to show. So in my emergency kit in the back, I have my sewing kit. There we go. So what you're going to do, you have your needles. Now, I always leave a little bit of thread on my needles because it makes sense. And you are going to have 2 of them. Now, leather needles, as you can see there, are quite thick. quite a thick needle. Technique for threading this is to finger and thumb pull the cord through, and it will flatten it, which makes it a lot easier to go through the eye. Go through the eye, pull your loose ends through. Okay, so it's through your needle, and then all you need to do is come back through the center of your cord with your needle. Hopefully you can see that. So it comes through the center of the cord. Pull that cord down up over the thread, pull the thread up. That's your needle now attached, but you're going to do, and I haven't got the other one here, you're going to do one at each end. So you've literally got a needle at each end. Then you start here, you thread a needle through, you pull it through, you've now got your thread sticking out both sides of your leather. Then the needle is going to go back through the next hole. Once that needle's through that way, you push the other one back through the same hole, so the two threads cross over one another. Okay, and you then just repeat that process all the way down the leather. So literally each one of those holes you punch gets two passes of the leather going in opposite directions. Then they come up, they come back, all the way around it. And you repeat that process until you get to the end, and that will give you that style of stitch. So you can see each side is pulled in with equal pressure all the way down. Now the knack is not to pull the cotton super tight, because believe it or not, that wax nylon thread will cut through the leather if you pull it too tight. You pull it in tight enough to hold it together. Yeah, that's it stitched. When you get to the end, double it over, tie knots in it, whatever you're going to do, right, to get your tension. And it's as simple as that. I say it's as simple as that. It takes a little bit of practice, but yeah, it's as easy as that. The finishing, these lovely shines that you see on the edges of sheaths and that, I'll be honest with you, are the easiest cheat in the book. So when you look at the leather maker's tools, quite often you'll see this rounding. There's natural oils in the leather, and all they do is work that down the leather. And if I do it on there, you'll see it's starting to bring the shine back up on that, and it literally burnishes the leather. That's all it is. Then treat your leather with whatever oils, polishes, sealants, whatever you want to do with there and then. Now, the only other thing for you to remember is if you want to fit things like that, which are literally just riveted on, you rivet those on or sew those on using exactly the same method before you close it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Hope that helps. It's quite simple, really, and you can, if you've got the patience to, you can punch these holes just with a single spike. It's just getting the spacings even all the way down, and that's why a tool like that comes in handy. And it does take a bit of a wallop. Basically, you want a piece of board underneath it that's going to allow these to penetrate through and just stick in the board. And the technique for taking them out is give them a wiggle like that and slide them out. Hope that helps. And then from there, you can make your own sheaths. I would say to you, start with a couple of old bits of scrap leather, have a practice, and move it up. There are also hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of leather sewing tutorials on the internet, which give a lot better information than I could. So go and have a look, and you'll be surprised. I only started doing this probably 10 years ago, just because I was looking at the price of sheaths and I was like, I've got a bit of leather and I'm not going to spend 80 quid buying a nice leather, fancy leather sheath when I can make my own. And the technique transfers, so it transfers into working with canvases, working with tougher materials. It's simple processes and it moves across. You can even, if you want, and I've done it before, that is a braided line for fishing. Hook to nylon line, braided line. Yeah, £20 breaking strain. I've used that. There's all sorts of fancy tools and bits of equipment that you can acquire. Majority of them, unless you're doing it for a profession and you're knocking out 10 or 20 of these things a week, you don't require. And if you think about it, our ancestors, our relatives, our grannies and grandparents, they didn't have all that technology and equipment. So yeah, practice, have a go. Cheers, TJ. FU crew, how you doing, mate? Hope you good, Bushcraft Sussex. Yeah, El Fajos is brilliant. That's fantastic, Bushcraft Sussex. Benny, hey up, brother. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Go over and see Benny's channel. If you're not subscribed to him already, Benny Bushcraft, absolutely brilliant guy. Benny, looking forward to see your adventures, mate. Oh, let's have back through that. Let's have a look back through that. There's 10 of you there. Blimey, wasn't expect that. Sticks, brother. How you doing? Sticks, I hope you saw my sheath tutorial then. You're going to need that. Or, as I was saying, Sticks the other day, there's Kydex. Kydex, brilliant stuff. I love Kydex. So, go carefully, Mick. Kydex. Come on, where is it? So Kydex comes in plastic sheet. You can buy them online. Flat plastic sheets. Now this sheath there is made. Honestly, that sheath was made using the grill to the cooker downstairs, a baking sheet, okay, and a couple of bits of yoga mat. As easy as that. So Kydex comes in, I buy it in A5 size sheets, put it on a piece of baking tray. It has a reflective side and a non-reflective side. You put it on the sheet, put it under the grill at a moderate heat, and within about 2 or 3 minutes, it softens. It literally goes like a soft rubber. You fold it, as you see there's the fold there, over what you want to trap. So you literally lay it flat, put that on top of the bottom sheet, fold the top sheet over it, and then you compress it. I started off using yoga mats, and I've now got some slightly thicker mats which help, but you can start off simply with that, and you press it and compress it, and that makes the plastic conform to the shape of whatever you put in there. You allow it to cool. Once it's cooled, you can trim it off to whatever size you want. Now, when you first do it, you'll find your blade falls in and out, won't click. All I then do is I take where this blade goes in, and you have to think about it when you're doing your trimming. So on this blade, I've got a little bit of a lip there. So it's put that in, cigarette lighter, and just pinch the Kydex in there. Right, that pinching of the Kydex, when it goes hard, just forms a little spring clip, so it can't come out. You can then finish it off by drilling it, putting rivets, nuts, bolts, whatever you want in there, trimming them back, done, dusted, and dead easy. Very, very simple method. And you can make a sheath for almost anything. I made a sheath for a what was it? Do you know when you can see something in your head and you had it for years and you thoroughly enjoyed it before they banned them? Beretta 92F. Okay, made a sheath for a Beretta. I've also made a sheath for a Glock later on. Again, when these were still legal for me to own and possess. They're no longer legal for me to own and possess in the UK. They had to go. But yeah, made those out of Kydex using exactly the same method, which was heat the Kydex, put the item in, clamp it around it, and then mould it. Brilliant, dead easy. And again, there's tutorials all over YouTube for making sheaths out of Kydex that can give you a lot better demonstration than I can. But believe you me, It's one of those easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as my mate Tank Outsider would say. And all these methods, again, I'm often saying to people, go and look on YouTube. Get people say, how do you go and look on YouTube? Yeah. Because these methods and that, there are people out there that do it for a living that will do you a tutorial. And because they do it for a living, will do a far better job than I can. And I'm a bodger. That's what I like to describe myself, bodger. So a bodger in modern parlance is seen as a derogatory term. It's not. 100 years ago, a bodger was a profession. Okay? A bodger was a man of many, many skills and tasks. He might not be a master. He was the guy that would go and work for the cider maker for a season and pick up the basic skills of cider making. He'd go and work for a tinsmith and pick up the basic skills of tinsmithing. He would end up being a man of many, many, many skills who was good at putting his hands to use. However, he probably wasn't the master, but he was the guy in the village where you could go, I need a, oh yeah, I can knock you up one of them. Okay. So again, in leather work, you can make almost anything. So I had to carry my axe out one afternoon and I had to take it to a school. So I was going to do a demonstration. But one of the things they said to me was, can you sheathe the axe, bringing it into the school, take it out in the classroom, put it away? And I was like, I don't have a sheath for that axe. It took me 20 minutes to knock that up. Okay. And that is just an old rough bit of leather that I had knocking around. And what I did originally was, as you can pretty much tell, I just sat the knife down on a square bit of leather, folded it over. And what I did to cheat, to make life easy to start off with, is I drilled these holes, these little brass rivets, just popped those in on the general outline, then drew around it with a pencil, marked the holes I needed, punched the holes, sewed them. Done. Job done. The closure is just a flap there. And I've had that about 3 or 4 years since. So it's one of those things. It's just really, I think my advice is just do it. Just do it. Go and have a look, see the basics, and do it. You didn't see the sheath making. Oh, sticks. Okay, so I'll give you the basics, and me and you'll have a chat about it later date. Start with a square piece of leather. Okay. Square. Imagine that piece of leather, or if you look at that sheath, that's a Nordic sheath. It's a basic, simple Nordic sheath. One of the best sheaths you'll get. That starts off as a square piece of leather, which the knife is laid over. The guy sits and works out where he wants the knife to fit in the leather, folds it around it, and then all it is the holes are punched in, okay? And you punch the holes in all the way around, and the leather is sewn in such a manner that if you imagine it that way on, so you hold it that way onto you, you've got all these holes going all the way through. You start at the furthest one and you go 2 needles, one at each end of the thread. You thread it all the way through, okay, on the very first hole. And then on the next hole, this needle goes through that way, and then that needle goes through in the opposite direction, so the threads both go through the same hole. And then you repeat that process on the next hole. Needle goes through, other needle goes through, and you just keep repeating that process all the way along to the end. That's it. It really breaks down as simply as that. Okay. Now, quite often what I'll do is I'll leave a lot of leather on the outside when I'm making it, because sometimes I might sit there and think, you know what, I want to trim it afterwards so that I can see where the stitching is, feel how tight it is. Maybe I might want to fit something else to it. So again, if you wanted to put a ferro rod holder on, when you trim it out, you would trim down here, come down, say there, then come out, leave a flap. Okay. That flap you would then, before you do what you call your finishing stitches, which is these, that flap you would fold over, stitch back onto itself, because you can go all the way through, all right, with a ferro rod in it. and that will give you the moulding for the ferro rod. You've now got your ferro rod holder done. You fold your sheath over, close your sheath up. It's one of them processes that people look at it and they go, that's going to be super complicated. You know, oh, that's so difficult. And I'm not taking it from people like Ben Orford and that. They are masters at what they do. I'm just an amateur. But making a basic sheath is not difficult. Our ancestors did it. They didn't go to shops and buy a sheath because they needed a sheath for a knife or an axe or any other tool. They sat down and went, right, okie doke. And in theory, if you look at it this way, it's just a wrap. Okay, it's just a wrap. That's all it is. Just simply a wrap for that bladed item. Easy peasy. Now you can go a step further. There are tricks and tips you can do, like you can make wooden inserts to go in there so that the blade's held from there down in a piece of wood. Okay, that's easy enough. 2 thin pieces of wood matched to the blade, draw around it, carve it out, stick it in, glue it into place, done, dusted. You can, if you've got quite a thick blade or an extremely sharp blade, you can put a welt in, which is just another piece of leather between these 2 flaps, which is a lot thicker and wider. So it's pretty much sacrificial, okay? And stitch that in the center when you close it up. There's all sorts. But again, go and have a look at some of the tutorials, because it is not that difficult. The actual sewing is easy peasy. The hardest part is the punching of the holes, because you're punching through leather. And again, I'll get it out because Sticks didn't see it. What you really ideally want to do, and they're not expensive, you can buy them on Tinterweb. Get yourself one of these, okay? A leather worker's comb. Now, all that is a series of punches. You can buy them in 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, you know. And all you do is you lay that on your piece of leather where you want your holes, hit it with a hammer, drive it through, give it a twist like that, slide it back out, put the last time in the last hole, so that gives you equal spacings, drive it down again. And you work all the way around your leather with that, and that gives you all your holes perfectly spaced. Easy peasy. If you haven't got that, you can do it with an awl and do them one at a time. Just be very, very careful. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, and I've got to say thank you very much, Observation Post Charlie. Right, you I owe a beer to now, because for about 7 or 8 weeks I've been looking for an item that I'd put down somewhere and I could not find. And I was getting pretty annoyed because I hadn't been able to find this thing, and I've had it for years, and I've always liked it, but I lost it. Found it in the sewing kit. It's my little dinky tiny Swiss Army knife. Okay, that is a little. I've had that for years, and that is a little sweetheart. That is just it's a bit of a tidy up, bit of a clean up. So it looks like I'm going to be doing some work. Oh no, it's a bit of muck. As a little tiny Swiss Army knife. A lot of people say, well, what use is that, Mick? Do you know what? That blade comes in so handy. It's fine, it's sharp. If I need to put pressure on it by holding it like that and put my finger on it, and it gives me the ability to put a little bit of pressure or my thumb behind it. Okay. Great little knife, but the reason I love it the most is it has this little nail file. And I've been looking for it because that little nail file is perfect for getting into that corner of your fingernails and just taking that corner off. Maybe it's an old boy thing. And again, as with a lot of the Swiss Army knives, has this little pair of tweezers, which are absolutely superb for getting rid of ticks, whether it be on you or the dog. They are absolutely brilliant. Love them dearly. And on the other side, that side there, which I can't quite get it out because it's stuck right in there, it's a toothpick. So I've been looking for that. I've been looking everywhere. I've been like, what have I done with that? I'm getting bloody fingernails. how bushcraft is me talking out my fingernails. Next thing I'll be doing is polishing them. So yeah, that's one of those things. Bushcraft Sussex depends on the fork, and also bear in mind the thickness of your leather. What you could do, now you've got a bit, that's clever thinking. What you could do is actually use the fork to indent the leather to give you spacings, and then use an awl to go through each one. Okay, and sometimes when you're actually sewing, you might find one of the holes is a bit tight where the leather's compressed up. If you've got an awl to hand, you can just open it up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Kitten Killer's just Kitten Killer, our resident, as I'd like to say, Professor Kitten Killer, if you don't mind. Cheers, Kitten. Absolutely brilliant. Deer antler needles, yeah. Jess, how you doing? Right, yeah. I mean, I only came on really. I was originally intending to do a live with Sticks. However, my phone's playing me up, which has been a bit of a pain. I think it's because my phone has heard that Kaz is getting me one of them iPad for Christmas, and she's given it to me beforehand because obviously I'm going into hospital, and she's worried about me losing my shit in hospital. Getting bored and upset, so she's ordered me one to take in the hospital with me, and I think the phone's thrown a wobbler over that, so I've actually shut it down, closed it down now, and going to let it reset itself. So here I am doing a quick live, and it really was just to catch up with people, say hi, how are you, hope you're all good, give you a bit of an update on how I'm feeling. Not too bad, as you see up there on the board, and on a board above the thing there, I have a list of about 15 now videos to make prior to going into hospital. I am 4 into that at the moment. So the idea is I'm going to make these videos and schedule them to come up based on what you guys have asked for. So for Jess and that, it was Jess, was it? Jess Knives Grinds? Yes, Jess. The first knife video is up now for you, sweetheart. And you've got another 2 or 3 coming up. So the next one should be, I think it's next week, or maybe the week after. I think I might be alternating them, but you'll see when they come up. Is knife maintenance and sharpening. Okay, my 2 go-to methods of sharpening and how I maintain my knives, and some tips and tricks that hopefully will help people out. I think most of you already know it, but anybody that's new to this sort of thing might not, and it just gives them a little bit of and I guarantee on the end of the last section of the maintenance video, the very last section in that, I'll be surprised if I don't get people going, "Oh, Mickey, I never thought of that. I never thought of that." Okay, because it's probably led to more knives being brought to me for repair than anything else in the years that I was blacksmithing. And I used to get probably twice a month somebody would turn up, and you always got the same sob story. Hello, mate. You do it with metal knives and things, don't you? Yeah. Because people don't like to ask that, right? They don't walk up and go, "I fucked my knife up. Could you fix that?" They come up, they go, "I hear you know a little bit about knives." Mm-hmm. Well, it's not actually my knife. It was my grandfather's knife that my son borrowed, and I've gone to take out to use it. Could you fix that? And I'd look at it and go, "Yeah, I can fix that." And I'd take it and I'd repair it. And then when I handed it back to her, I would always give them a little lesson in what not to do to cause that problem. I'm going to leave it there because I want you to watch the video. Nah, what a swine I am. Well, shall I not? No, I'll leave it there. You can watch the video and see for yourselves. And let me know in the comments as well. That's the other thing. It's whilst I'm off, and it's the 23rd, I go into hospital now. So whilst I'm off in hospital, by all means comment on the videos, because I'm going to have the little iPad there, so I'll be able to read the comments and see the feedback. I'll try depending on how I feel and the sort of state I'm in, get something out from the hospital. And as soon as I come home, I'll get something out. Now, 22nd is a Sunday. I'm in on the Monday. So the 22nd will be a live stream. I'm going to call that the last the last my kidney's last chance to go live. And obviously he's out on the Monday. Hopefully I will be back. I'm going to be a bit of a mess, but the following Sunday, we will be doing a live. Even if Kaz has to wheel me in here or even do it from the bedside, I will be live for that one. Okay. I'm not expecting to be brilliant, but yeah, I want to do a live. Don't want to let you guys down. Yeah, Jess, knives and TLC. You let me know what you need to do with them, or what the problems are, and you don't have to tell everybody. And I'll try and give you some pointers. In most cases with knives, if it's the most common things that I get are dinks and chips along the edge. Okay, so dinks and chips along the edge. There's no two ways about it. You've got to reduce that edge to get rid of them. Okay, so tips being broken off is another common one. So you get a tip broken off and people throw the knife away. Well, if you look at the curve of the blade of a knife, all you've got to do is file it, or if you've got a grinder, grind it. Just don't get it too hot, and reprofile that knife. Okay. Now, you're not going to have the same level of hardness in that tip. Okay. It's as simple as that, because you haven't got the gear to do it. However, it's still a workable knife. It's still a usable knife. It's still something that you can go out and use for cutting, slicing, and working. And the same thing, like I say, chips and dinks. I quite often look at knives people give them to me, and I've had knives where the edge here has worn right back, where they constantly resharpened it. And instead of that Scandi grind being 10 millimeters, it's now down to 3 or 4 millimeters. But it's mean that the bevel has gone from being like that, a nice sharp edge, to that where they've sort of taken it in, sharpened it, but not kept the profile. So when you keep that profile, when you sharpen it, as life goes on with that knife, that angle remains the same. So both the edge and that bevel there should, in theory, move back up the blade until there is no blade left. But what happens normally is people start sharpening it and they just don't realise that, so they end up doing that with it. And so all that ends up happening is me sitting there with the gear and just putting that profile back in to keep that edge on. But yeah, I've had people come, oh, I'm going to throw it away and it cost me 300 quid. I spent a fortune buying this knife and I've only had it a year and I've ruined it. And I've looked at it and gone, okay, yeah, you have ruined it. Yes, I'm going to have to change the profile slightly, or I'm going to have to take a few millimeters off the blade, but you can still have the knife. And again, don't be frightened of doing it, having a go. It's like a lot of things. It's something you can even do it. I've done it on the oil stone, just constantly working it on an oil stone. Right, as long as you maintain the profile on the bevel, you can do it. Axes. Right. So in theory, with an axe, you should always have a file and a stone. Okay. Axes, normally the bit in an axe is going to be a super hard metal, and what you're going to want to do is you want a really good quality file, and you can then use that file to take out chips, damage, and everything. And if you've really buckled it up, start to put the profile back in, and then finish it with a stone. Do the honing with a stone. And again, there's lots of different methods for that. Yeah, nice, mate. Cheers, mate. Just want me to guys. Yeah, well, be honest with you guys. It's this is starting to get painful, and the sooner it's out, the better. If they phoned me tomorrow and said, "Come in the next day," I would be there. The sooner it's out, the better. They reckon at the moment I shouldn't be in hospital for more than 24 to 48 hours. However, I'm looking at the dates and going, yeah, we know what the hospitals are like. It's the 23rd. Are you going to be able to get a consultant in on Christmas Day to clear me to go home? I doubt it. So it's probably going to be Boxing Day or the day after. So I'm looking personally at an outside 3 to 4 days. On the inside, it will be good, and it will be home the following day. Recovery on it 6 to 8 weeks for light duty. So in other words, 4 to 6 weeks. And those 4 to 6 weeks, apparently, I'm not allowed to lift anything over 20 pounds. I'm not allowed to do squats, thrusts, burpees, running, long distance walking, and have to be careful going up and down the stairs. They've explained all sorts to me about they do an incision near the diaphragm and detach this from that to that, and so I just take their advice and do what they say. After 8 weeks, they reckon then I can start building the muscle tone back up. The one thing they have told me, and I'm sort of keep my fingers crossed that it does affect me that way as well, is apparently my appetite will go completely out the window. Oh, that would be a bonus. Because since I gave up smoking, I'm hungry all the bloody time. Hungry all the bloody time. I just crave food. And it's always the foods that are not good for you. Anyhow, do excuse me. Please be patient with me. Part of this problem is I need to wee a lot. I'll be 30 seconds. Honestly, I'm good at it. I've been practicing. There you go. Right, so yeah, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about it. Double bevel, yeah. Do you know what I do? I actually, if you look at a lot of my knives, let's take that one. Yes, probably the best example is that one. Okay, so when I reprofiled the MOD survival knife, I could have done pretty much a Scandi grind on it like that, single bevel. Okay. However, a lot of what I do with my knives is pretty brutal. Okay. I do a lot of battening. When I'm processing game, they're quite often striking bone and things like that, and occasionally being quite severe with it. So what I tend to prefer myself is that double bevel. I do prefer having that extra bevel in there so that the blade thickens as quick as possible. Now, you can get a good edge on a double bevel, and as you see on that one, it is quite an extended double bevel. It is a good 2 or 3 millimeters before it comes into the blade, but it just gives that blade that little bit more durability. The same thing on this one, and again, you can see how well used this one is. I've got the double bevel on that one. Okay, and that used to be my game processing knife, and you can see from the shape of the blade how the blade from here swoops down and then comes up round. That is just successive sharpening and sharpening and sharpening over many years of use. And again, what I do on there, I've actually got 3 different cutting edges on there. So I've got really steep bevel back here because that is putting a lot of force on. And as I come up to this curve, the bevel gets finer. Okay, so that I've got a very fine cutting edge up there because that is for paring out. That might be for skinning, that might be for just working around things gently and nipping out and slicing. Whereas as I move back down the blade, I'm putting a lot more force on. Now, that's not something I suggest that people do when they first start out sharpening their knives, because that takes a little bit of practice blending those angles in. So when you're sharpening, you start at one end to get quite a steep bevel, and have a thick, strong cutting edge. And then as you come up, you lift it, okay, so that it becomes a finer edge. With practice, you can master it, and it's a great technique. And again, for me, and everybody's a bit different. I've got the same here. You see, I've got a longer bevel here, so I've got a finer edge up on this curve here, because again, I'll shrink down that blade and use that for slicing, working leather, jobs like that. But as I come back down, it's just a steeper bevel, because that's from here to here is the section which I'm hacking with, or I might be doing beaver cuts or battening and that sort of thing. And you, yeah, it's horses for courses. That's just how I do it. It's it works for me. It's years and years and years of sharpening, profiling, working out. But if I just did that for what I do, it would work. It might not work for everybody else. I mean, I've got mates that batten with that section of the knife there. They will literally put that piece on what they want to split and hit here. Me, I tend to put the wood here, and basic rule of thumb for me is 5 to 6 inches. So I've got that much poking out the other side, and I know I can strike down on this blade and batten down with it. So it's fine what works, really. And I think that's what I keep trying to put out on my channel, is find what works for you, because we're all different. We all have different requirements, and we all have different methods, techniques. None of them are actually wrong if they work. And I think that's the secret to it. It doesn't matter it's like knots. Okay, knots is a big thing, isn't it? There are guys out there that are experts at knots, hitches, and bends. Okay, used all 3 correct titles there, didn't you, Mickey? Are absolute experts with them. Met a guy this weekend. Okay, oh yeah, I use bends in all mine. Oh yeah, wonderful, great for you. What knots do you use? Pretty much overhand loop, figure 8. That's about it. Prussics. That's pretty much it. Oh, all you use. So all I need to use, because the secret to tying knots for me really is to be able to do it quickly, efficiently, and with a minimum of effort. And so rather than learn 50, 60 different types of knots, I learned 2 types of knots that I could use with slight variations for literally every job I do. And they're not knots, they're hitches. Yeah, I like a hitch. I like something I can pull, release. But I found that just literally the simple overhand loop is my main go-to, because it adapts to cover all sorts. You can use it to pull tension on. You can use it with a second overhand loop as a brake on it, which will stop it undoing until you've released the first one. You can pin things in it, tension. Yeah, it works for me. Not to say that it's not worth learning other knots, because they are worth learning. However, how many, and if you think about it, how many do you really use? So I can pretty much guarantee it. You might not use an overhand loop, but out of all of us, you've all got a knot that you pretty much have as your go-to knot. That if I blindfolded you, give you 2 bits of string, you could go ding, 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 done. Right? Without even looking at it, thinking about it, because you've memorized the method. A lot of axes. Yeah, I've got 5 axes in here. I like axes. I do like axes. Taut line hitch, Canadian jam knots. Yeah, it's just yeah, find what works. I have a couple of knives which just a bit TLC, but I always end up putting some double bevel. Yeah, yeah. Sussex. Yeah, it's Sussex. It's and again, it's exactly that, isn't it? It's find what works for you. Yeah, it's just as there, knows 10 or 12 off the top of her head, but only actually use 3 on a daily basis. Yeah, axes. So I love my axes. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a bit of an axe man. I've even made. I got into a spate at one time of making old tools, axes, bill hooks, scythes, all that sort of thing. Fascinated me because again, I'm what you call a traditional blacksmith. I'm not as I call today, a knife smith or a bladesmith. Yeah, all right. Yeah. And I'll give you a secret there that the blacksmiths always laugh about. Blacksmiths piss themselves laughing when somebody refers to themselves as a bladesmith. No, bladesmith is actually called a cutler. A cutler makes knives. That's where we get the term cutlery from. So you'll find a lot of the old blacksmiths, when somebody goes, I'm a bladesmith, just go. So you couldn't make a bracket then, could you? Sunshine. Because for me, blacksmithing, when I first started, was exactly that. Coat hooks, brackets, candlestick holders, pans. It was the blacksmithing, the other side of things, ornate work, making iron gates for people, making fences, hinges. Okay, that's what I love. I love doing it. That's what and Chris has or Sticks has been to my house and he's walked up the garden and there are things that I've made all over the place, door handles, you name it, because that's the pleasure in it. Because to be honest with you, the first few knives I made as tools to do things. Okay, they were made as tools I needed around the workshop or to do something somewhere. I wasn't ever really interested in making not just knives. But again, it's one of those things people then turn around to you and say, Oh, Mickey, I like that knife. Could you make me one? Yeah, all right, I'll make you one. And then it grows, and it's one of the difficult things. You start making knives, and then the next thing is everybody's, oh, you did make a knife down there. You charged him 50 quid. Could you do me one? Yeah, all right. And there comes a point where you actually have to go, stop, not making any more, because it becomes a bit of a nightmare. As I said to you guys the other day, the knives that I made for the military guys, the little one-handed survival knives, that was actually the prototype. So that was the first one we actually produced, and that's one of the reasons I kept it. So that was the prototype. I'm just going to have a look, see if I've got what we finished up doing up here. Got it to hand. Oh, because I've got stuff put away all over the place at the minute. Is it hanging up? No, that's not there. It's not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. God, I've got to have another sort out. Got to reorganise everything. No, it's not up there. No, it's not up there. What have I done with that? Yes, I do. Thank you. Yeah. No. Oh, might be interesting. No. No, put it away somewhere. Put it down somewhere. Can't find it or see it. What have I done with that? It'll turn up. Oh. Yeah. No. I've put it down somewhere. It will turn up at a later date. But basically, that then evolved into something with a steeper finger choil there and a more bulky base back there. But again, the blade stayed the same size because it's small and efficient. It's big enough. It's only 1.25 inches. It's enough to slice things, cut things, and all the rest. And hot ghost. And again, you could sit flat in a piece of kit, gear, webbing, whatever you wanted. And it was again a backup knife. Somebody turned around to me and said, "Could you make me a backup knife?" And well, it wasn't. It was actually my arrogance. Somebody was talking about what they would like as a backup knife, and I went, "I can make that." And they went, "Would you?" I went, "Yeah, I'll have a go." And a golf nail. Like I said, I made about 60 or 70 of them in the end. Again, because it was one of those where people go, oh, that's so cool. I want them. How much you charging for them? And at the time, I think I was charging 30 quid for them. And it was like, oh, yeah, I'll have one. Right. And got to the point where they were all a uniform construction. So it's tool steel. So I was buying the tool steel as bar stock and buying it about that wide, that thick. And then obviously I would cut it into the right length, stack it, drill all the pilot holes all the way through it in batches of 5 or 6, turn it over, clamp them together, do all the cuts, right? Then do all the grinds on the handles, and then all it came down to was profiling the blades. And once I'd got the jig made for it, I could literally knock one of these out in about an hour and a half, 2 hours as a rough. And then it was just a little bit of finishing. And because it's tool steel, okay, all I had to do then was go to a simple temper method because it's already got the strength, it's got the sharpness, the edge retention. All I'd do is temper them just to give them a little bit of a relaxation. And that was it. That was it. Great fun they were too. So, one of my first knives ever. They often get me on the channel saying, so when I was 13, I got given my first sheath knife by my father. Okay. Now, that original one I lost later on in my teens. However, when Kaz's dad passed, one of the things that was given to me and my sons was exactly the same knife. He must have bought it at the same gun shop as my dad, and it's exactly the same knife, and it was that. And it's a little tiny bone Bowie knife. Okay. Wants a bit of repair work on it because the blade's very, very old. It's got a little bit of marking on it, but it's just a little tiny Bowie knife. 13 years old, my father trusted me with one of those. Right, couldn't take it to school, but other than that, I used to wear it everywhere, round the village, up the town, up the woods, all the rest of it. Never ever saw it as a weapon. It was just seen as a tool. And I'm very grateful to Kaz's dad for passing that on because I often get it out and look at it and think, oh, that's pretty much where it all began. Yeah, great little tool. Great little tool. I should give that a bit of a tidy up in the next few weeks because it deserves it. Yeah, the Sussex, the Opinels. Oh, mate, can't fault them. Can't fault them. Literally one of the best slicing knives ever. Okay, I literally, out of the box, there are no knives, especially at that cost, that work as well as an Opinel. They really are delightful. In actual fact, where am I put that? Do you know what? This is what happens. I organise everything, I make a video, I move everything, and I can't find a damn thing afterwards. Yeah. Opinels. What did I put that? Oh, I think I put it away in the drawer actually. But yeah, the Opinels. I think really, truthfully, now I'm a 2-knife man. I really am truly a 2-knife person. I got woods. I carry 2 blades, and I think if you're a bushcrafter, you want to carry any bushcraft knife that you find suits you, whatever fits your hand, whatever feels comfortable. Okay, and then you want to back that up with an Opinel. Okay, and then you've got a really good heavier working knife, and then you back that up and you've got an absolutely brilliant slicer for doing those fine tasks, food preparation, leather working. They're damn good for that. And again, here's another tip for you guys if you're looking at making sheaths and that. When you go to cut your leather, okay, a lot of things in this world you'll cut this way. You don't tend to do that with leather. What you'll do, and I'll try not to cut that, but you're actually looking at putting a fine curved sharp edge onto the leather like that, so you've got the curve there, and you work forwards like a dressmaker, which keeps the tension on the leather as you're slicing forwards. There we go. Simple tips and tricks from Mickey. And if you look at leather workers' knives, again, they're designed to cut quite often in a forward motion because you can lay the leather flat, put your hand behind it, and you're not cutting towards your hand, you're cutting down the line away from it, holding it in place. If you try and cut towards you, what tends to happen is you bunch the leather up, it will lift. There's a bit of friction. There we go. Flint knapping. Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, flint knapping. Jess, if we get you upwards with Lee Roberts, you two will be off in your own little world for hours. The guy, yeah, genius. Watching him make stuff out of flint, absolutely brilliant. I came home at one point to top up the water and went back with a huge lump of flint. I literally went, "There you go, you use that." He just looked at it and went, "I can use bits of it." And I was like, "How do you know?" He went, "I just know. You get the feel for it. You get used to seeing it, and you look for this shadow on that shine with this moon in the shadow of Venus, and the elephants are flying south for the winter." I was like, "All right." Yeah, yeah, they are. They are. Oh, arrowheads. Yeah. Yeah, we're looking forward to having you down here, Jess. So the February camp is obviously out the window. Again, we're looking at 6 to 8 week recovery, so that's really knocked that out the window. I don't think I'm going to be in a fit enough state for it. I have spoken to Gareth, and so he said, "Well, look, the best thing to do is to see how your recovery's going, rather than set a date and then have to cancel it because you're not quite right or there's an issue." He said, "What we do, see how your recovery's going, and we'll find you a weekend." So I've said to him, I need a minimum of 2 months' notice for people because for some they've got to travel a long way, for others they've got to change work plans and all the rest of it. So hopefully by the beginning of February, I can turn around to Gareth, contact him, and say, "All right, mate, when can I have?" And we'll set it up from there, and I'll give you as much notice as possible. The camp, this yeah, the camp's growing. It's getting more and more popular. And yeah, I mean, it's just a chill. It really is just a chill. It's one of those, if you want to come along and you want to film and you want to film other people, just say to them, "It's all right if I get the camera out. Can I interview you?" Whatever. You'll find most people will sit there, with the exception of Yarps, and go, "Yeah, yeah, it's not a problem." Yarps is Yarps. You'll understand when you meet him. He's the nicest guy in the world, but Yarps is Yarps. Got a great sense of humour. And again, if there's something that you want to learn that somebody else covers or has done in the past, ask. It's what it's about. It's all about just sharing. And likewise, if you're coming and you just want to sit back on your bum in your tent or in your hammock and just catch Zeds and relax, do so. Because again, nobody else is going to be upset if you turn around and go, "Do you know what? No, I don't really feel like doing it." Because again, we're all doing the same thing. Do it because we like it, we enjoy it. And basically, I think sticks will bear me out on this. There's only one rule on the camp, and that is no egos. Or no, it's two rules really: no egos, no attitudes. Yeah. We don't do egos. We don't do attitudes. I don't care how big somebody is as a YouTuber or how small they are. It's all equal standing in that woods. We could have TA outdoors there. As far as I'm concerned, he would have no priority over anybody else just because he's got a bigger channel. It's a case we're there because we enjoy being there. It's easy as that. That Sussex, yeah, mate. And again, come along, show if you want to show and share, show and share. There's always somebody that wants to learn. There's always somebody that says, "Show us how that works. How does that technique do? Take us through it." It's what it's all about. Me on the camp, you tend to find I'm just bimbling around, watching everybody else enjoying themselves, usually with a grin like an idiot on my face because I'm enjoying the atmosphere. Elcroc, yeah. Well, we all know it's like when the elephants fly south for winter, you know it's going to snow. You know, there's them big old ears. You look out there, ooh, and like that big V of elephants heading south. You're like, damn, it's going to be rough. Brilliant, Jess. Brilliant. So, how to make a joke and make yourself extremely unpopular with small children at this time of year. A few years ago, I was chatting to somebody's parents, not realising that the kids that ranged from the age of 4 to about 8 were listening in the next room. And we were talking about shooting. And the guy said to me, I've been out managing beer. And he jokingly said to me, Santa's coming. And I just looked at him and went, just remember, I live further north than you. I've got a decent rifle, got a scope. You let me know. I'll have the bugger before he gets here. I like a bit of reindeer meat. It's not a problem. If I drop the first one, we'll sort the others out on the way. God, blimey. I wasn't popular with those kids. I was not popular with those kids after that. They didn't like me anymore. They didn't call me Uncle Mick anymore. That was it. No. Didn't speak to me. I thought it was funny. They're normally like, see you later, take care, look after yourself, love you. Silence when I left. Next time I saw them, still silence. So I said, what's wrong with the kids? You threatened to shoot Santa's reindeer. So, you have to be a bit careful. Exactly that, Jess. Exactly that, Jess. No attitudes, and no egos. We've all seen it. And again, I'm not taking it away from the big channels. A lot of those guys have worked hard and they've worked for a lot of years to get where they are. And there's a lot of them I absolutely adore and watch and follow and think to myself, that's brilliant. I'd love to learn to be able to present in that manner. And I've seen some of them progress from nothing up through, and full credit to them. There are a couple that really started off brilliantly, and they grew and they grew and they grew, and then they slip. And I think it's the most common one you see. They slip into this thing of, hang on, that happened to me that night, and I showed it on the video, and all of a sudden I got lots more views. All right, and it turns into a drama. Oh, there's a thing in the woods. There's a thing in the woods. It's behind me. It attacked me, dragged me kicking and screaming through the stinging nettles. And yeah, it's a shame because to me, at that point, it just loses integrity. And it's just yeah, it's yeah. I can't be doing with it at that point. It's I'm an outdoorsman. I've been outdoors probably more than most people in their lives. I grew up on the edge of Bodmin Moor, right? So edge of Bodmin Moor. I used to play up there in the dark. I used to go out to places like Row Tor, Brown Willie and that. That was my background or my back garden. Then we came up to Merrow and I lived in a little village called Merrow on the outskirts of Guildford. And literally my back garden went out onto fields which belonged to Merricourt Farm, which is where I did all my dairy work. If I walked out the front, I crossed a little tiny lane, and then it was about 8 or 9 miles of woodland and private estate till I got to the next village. And that's what surrounded me. And I grew up in that. And it just became natural for me to be in these places. Now, I've done that. It used to be a nice place, it's also nice now. So I grew up in those environments, right? And then throughout my working career, that passion's always kept me outdoors. I've worked in forestry, done plantation work in forestry. I've worked all up and down the country doing that. Seasonal Christmas tree felling to earn some extra cash in plantations in Scotland or in the Midlands, Wales, traipsed all over the mountains of Wales for various roles, which I won't go into. Out on Salisbury Plain, Dartmoor, Bodmin Moor, Exmoor, North York Moors, Strensall, it's all over Scotland. And I've been outside in all these places, and I've still not been attacked. Oh, don't get me wrong, there's been a couple of times where I've gone, what was that? And we all do. If we're honest with ourselves, we've all done it. We've got, oh, bloody hell. But you sit there and you then, oh, that's no, it's an animals. It's something moving out there. It's nothing to be frightened of. Okay. But these people that suddenly do this, and they're saying a lot more of it because it gets the views from children and conspiracy theorists. There's something out there. A load of old hooey. That's what I say. A load of old. There's a lot. Tell me honestly, because it would make headline news that you heard of a human being in the British Isles being torn apart by either an animal or a spirit. I'm pretty sure if a man was found torn to pieces in a woodland somewhere by an unidentified animal, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, all of them, they would be all over it. They wouldn't be hushing it up. Blimey, papers and that would sell. So, no. There's only 2 threats to you out in the woods. One is yourself, and one is any other human being wandering around. And I do say be cautious of other people. I don't say be threatened by them. I don't say run away from them just because they're there. Always think to yourself, well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, there's somebody else out in the woods there. But hang on, where am I? Are they doing the same thing I am? Okay. But obviously you think to yourself, it could be the local nutter. And you act appropriately, but it doesn't mean you've got to go sort of screaming through the woods with your, again, as I said the other day, get your camera out, set your camera up. Because I can be honest with you, and bear in mind that I have travelled around the world a bit, and those situations where something in the background goes, you don't get your camera out. Okay? Simple. That is the last thing going through your mind. The first thing is usually let's get out of here. Or if you're armed, come on, you bugger, I'll have you. Scoot Lady! Oh no seriousness here, Scoot Lady. How you doing? Bush Used Fishing Lake. I know Broadwater Lake very, very well. Yeah, and I know Hazelmere very, very well. My son lived at Hazelmere for a while. Scoot Lady, how you doing? Shoveling snow. She's another one that's had snow. It's all gone round me. No snow for Mickey. Although I do snow. I know it's going to snow here sometime between the 23rd of December and possibly the 1st of January. Definitely. because that will be the period where I'm sat in bed looking at it falling outside the window going, yeah. It does create other risks, Jess. Again, that's the other thing when you're out on your own. Now, I love camping with other people. I love having my adventures with other people, not because I am concerned about where I am, because I do plenty of solo stuff. But however, it's nice to share. Me and Chris, we go out in the woods. He sets up well away from me. Our sleep stations are set out well away from one another. But it's nice to sit around that fire, having a coffee, enjoying the sky, the view, chatting about things and just relaxing. There's a great deal of pleasure in that. One of the things we sort of got a bit of going as a bit of a tradition on the camp now is in the evenings getting the fire going and getting everybody sat around the fire. Now, some people like a beer. If you want to bring a beer, bring a beer. Some people want a coffee. The coffee pot is always on. Well, there's hot chocolates and that. But we just got this thing now where we just sit back and chill, and people will tell stories, jokes, chat about adventures they've had, and all that. And it's, one of the most pleasant, relaxing parts of the whole weekend is just that evening chat round the fire. And quite often there becomes, and I noticed it last time, you get moments of silence. You get moments of silence, but you're listening to people, but they're talking without talking. And you look at them and they're just so relaxed. It's lovely. Yeah, just sitting staring at it. Yeah, exactly that, Elcroc. You're right. Not interested in fake clickbait. Keep it real, keep it honest, keep it informative, keep it as fun as you can. And again, I think one of the problems for some of these people that go for all the clickbait and that is they don't have enough of imagination to make it fun. I got told, oh, major disaster when you put that hat on, that's just bloody stupid. What? Yeah, so it is. It's bloody stupid. It's just a bit of fun. It's making a bit of a light. It's having a bit of a giggle. That's what life's about. Let's face it. It is have a bit of fun. Sometimes you can be, again, when you're in a group, you can be a little bit, how can we put it, not so politically correctly minded. And I don't mean being rude or being nasty, because again, I've said it before on my channel, I say it again, I don't give a what somebody's colour, religion, sexuality, origin, deity is. I don't care if somebody identifies as a flying toothpick, okay? That's their business. None of my business. Is not for me to judge them. However, just don't have a chip on your shoulder about it. Leave me to be me, and I'll leave you to be you. There are only actually two types of human being on the planet. Okay? There are good people and there are arseholes. That's all there is. So, Jess, you are more welcome to our community. And again, it's a shame that you can't find some like-minded people up around your way. And again, it's 10 years ago. I said 10 years ago. No, so 10, 15 years ago. This trying to find somebody that was, if you said wild camping, people just went, what? You go, wild camping. No. Camping, you go to a campsite, you put your tent up, you go into the cafe in the evening, you have something to eat, then you go into the bar, you get pissed, you stagger back to your tent. That's camping. You go, no, not into that. But again, things evolve and move on. More and more people are getting into this. More and more people are. It became a bit of a fad for a while, and sort of like people came into it that weren't actually really interested in it, but they thought it would do their channel good. and it will grow their channel. And it was popular, especially just after COVID, where everybody wanted to get out and experience being out. It's starting to calm down a bit now, and those people are drifting away. There's a couple of channels that have gone from doing outdoorsy camping, walking up mountains, back to doing, hey, look at my Mark 1 Golf with its big exhaust. Okay, nothing wrong with the Mark 1 Golf with the big exhaust, but that's what they were genuinely into. But they just migrate to whatever they think the latest popular thing is that's going to get them their views. The sad thing for them is their channel will never truly grow, because as soon as they change from one fad to another, they lose people. Because people go, oh, it's not what I was watching for. And you can learn new things. See, Scoot Lady, when I get over to Chicago, you're going to teach this old monkey to scoot, aren't you? You're going to get me on a scoot. I am going to have a go. I am going to have a video of Mickey scooting around Chicago, being guided by Scoot Lady, going, and that's such and such, and that's such and such. Because, one, I ride a motorcycle, but I've never been able to ride a push bike. And I wasn't particularly good on a skateboard, okay? But I'm prepared to give it a go. Two, I'd just get lost. I would just get lost. I would. See, the British Isles isn't too bad for me, because I know that if I get lost, I've only got to travel for about 48 hours in that direction. I'm going to hit the sea. When I hit the sea, I can turn left or right, keep going. It's going to bring me all the way back round eventually. Okay, this is the thing I'm often saying a bit with the British Isles. It's tiny. From where I am down here in the south, 50 miles from the south coast, I can be at the most northerly point of mainland Britain, right up there in north of Scotland, and I can be there in about 16, 17 hours. I am fairly central. If I go left or right, I can be at the most westerly point or the most easterly point again in 4 or 5 hours. It's not a big place, but America is big. If Mickey gets lost in America, he's going to just keep going and going and going and going and going, and it's going to take months. So it works. Same method out there as here then. Well, there we go. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. And again, that's adventures, isn't it? I'm setting goals. I'm setting a lot of goals for myself. One of my goals is now, Hi, Lockhoppers, how you doing? I hope you're good. Just catching up with everybody, letting them know how it's going with the back and the diddly and all the rest of it, and just having a bit of a fun chat. So I come out of hospital New Year. I've set myself goals already. I am definitely making it out to America in the next couple of years. I've made so many contacts and friends over there that what originally started out as me getting out for a few days to see Mr. D has made me realise that if I only come to see Derek, everybody else is going to be spitting bullets. So it looks like Mickey's going to come to the States and figure out a way of doing some sort of grand tour. It's literally, I think it's going to be starting in Oregon and working my way all the way around. So I'm going to come all the way down through Chicago. I've got friends in Utah that I want to visit. And then it's across to Virginia and it's St. Louis and all the rest. And there's so many of you observation post Charlie and all that. And it's going to be literally. Oh, yeah. So there we go. What starts off as going for weeks, I'm going to be out there for 6 months. One Mac, man, small backpack and a GoPro. Yeah, it's getting up a USA road trip. Definitely. Yeah. Well, that's the thing for me. Nearly all my travelling in my life has been work. I've travelled 3 times for pleasure. I've actually had in my entire life, I've had 3 trips abroad that were actually holidays. and I can probably count the number of holidays I've actually taken in my life on two hands. It's not. It was just work, life, work. You know, if they turn around to you and they say, right, you're off to such and such, you're off to such and such, away you go. You go there, you do what you got to do. Usually within 24 to 48 hours, you're on a flight after it's finished and you're back. So you didn't really, although I say I've been to places, the actual being able to go and just go, wow, 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 wow. That's going to be the difference for me. You know, I am going to be what we term in the military a crow. Okay. Now, a crow is a recruit. Okay. They are junior soldiers, junior recruits. And we call them crows because of two reasons. One, they're new. They know nothing. So what do? They flock together. The other thing is every time you show them or demonstrate something, the reaction you'll get is caw, caw. Look at that. Caw. Didn't know that. Caw. So the joke became crow. And that joke goes right back to the days of national service. Right? Here's some more crow. Okay? And I will be, when I get to the States, that crow. Because I will be walking around going, caw, 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 caw. Look at that. Caw. Didn't know that. Caw. You know? So there we go. I'm dreading that. Planes. Heights. Me and heights. Mac, I tell you, I don't do altitude of any sort. All right, it's a weird thing. Now, something I all my life I've hated heights. Okay, at one point I got called 2 foot because 2 foot up a ladder. That was it. You know, hate altitude, hate lights. I've been on helicopters and aircraft loads of times. I've been in Chinooks with the ramp down, sat there at the last seat. Didn't like it. My guts up here. However, at one point in a career, I got coerced into learning the art of tree climbing for forestry skills. And prior to that, I'd had to learn the art of abseiling. Now, to abseil, you have to climb up to abseil down. And I figured out as long as I never looked down, it wasn't too bad going up, but I actually thoroughly loved the coming down. And that was because I was taught very, very well. And I came to 100% trust my gear, my kit. I came to trust that 100%. It was my kit. I checked it. I maintained it. I looked after it. I set it up. Confidence in the gear. Knew I was safe. Okay, I won't say I was the best abseiler in the world because I wasn't. And that transpired again when it came to learning tree climbing and tree rescue. So it was a case of I didn't want to do it. I had to do it. This is the route I'm going to have to take. Thump in there, learn it. But again, getting the confidence in that kit and equipment overcame my fear. So confidence overcomes fear. To the point where when they opened a quite a long dual carriageway here, and it goes literally from Farnham to where I'm in Farnborough, many, many years ago. In fact, that's about 15, 20 years ago now. They opened it up, and me and a mate of mine went, just for a giggle, we went, do you know what? There's about 8 bridges along it. And before they're open, let's abseil. Let's do a free abseil off of the central span of every single bridge along there. And let's try and do it in an afternoon. So this dual carriageway is brand new set up. There's no traffic on it yet. The following day is the opening, so it's completely shut down, but everything's set. And we worked our way along it, abseiling off the centre span of every single bridge. And we figured out that if we wore high-vis vests and just walk with confidence, we shouldn't have too much trouble. And as sure as hell's hell, security turned up at one point with one of the guys from the site. What are you doing? What are you doing? And my mate just looked around and went, hey, went, we're inspecting the bridges. Weren't you told? And I went, Oh, right, no worries, guys. Okay, do you need anything? No, we don't need anything. Just got to leave us alone. That was it. And we see them about 3 or 4 times as we did this route, and every time we see them, they were like, "You all right, boys? Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, go away." Yeah. So again, confidence dispels fear. So in anything you're doing, learn your kit, learn your techniques, learn your methods, and be confident. That as you build that confidence, the fear goes away. And as log hoppers will tell you, exactly as I said just now, okay, and they live out there, there's nothing in the British Isles to be afraid of apart from yourself and other human beings. 9 times out of 10, you don't have to worry about the other human beings, although you always give them a little bit of caution. But the one thing you do have to watch, you have to master, is yourself. Okay, it's quite natural to be somewhere and go, "The bloody hell was that?" No matter how confident you are, it happens because that's an instinctive, natural reaction. But don't let it turn into a hope and run into a tree, skewer yourself, break your leg, run into a river or whatever. You've got to master yourself, and that just comes through confidence. Yeah, yeah. A good high vis, walking with a purpose, and if you really want to double it up, a clipboard. Okay, a clipboard. Just got all you got to do is walk along that clipboard, start looking at things. And if somebody does ask you the question, right, what you're doing, right, you just throw back at them the most scary thing you can throw at any company or any official anywhere in the world. You just look at them like that, go, health and safety, mate. So people go, it's a health and safety man. Shit. Oh yeah, love a good clipboard. Love a good clipboard. Stealing couches. Yeah, too right. Yeah, clipboard. It's confidence, isn't it? If you look at somebody and they look like they're supposed to be there, 9 times out of 10, you won't question why they're there. Okay. And it's again, same thing when you're out of the woods. The only person that's ever going to ask you why you're in the woods is probably the landowner. Okay. Everybody else is just going to go, oh, yeah, yeah. They're for the same reason I am. I had a guy turn up at Fleet Ponds recently. I was making a coffee on the ground, had my little nest stove going, making a coffee. And the guy walked up to me, all polite and friendly, nothing nasty about it. And he said, "Can I just ask you what you're doing?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been doing a walk around here. I've done 3 or 4 laps, just doing a piece to camera now for my YouTube channel. But I'm just making a quick brew down there before I move on." And he just went, he looked down at what I was doing and he went, "You do know we don't allow fires here." And I went, oh, really sorry, should have made note of that. I do apologise. But it's actually a little tiny meth burner. It's self contained. I'm really careful with it. It's not on the ground, it's actually on a little bit of metal. It won't damage anything, fully aware. And he oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's pretty sorted, that, isn't it? That's a good bit of kit. I like that. He said, yeah, he said, don't worry about it. He said, you know what you're doing. He said, I'll see you safe. He said, you're not marking the ground, you're not damaging anything, there's no risk. He said, not a worry. He said, you might find 1 or 2 of the other rangers might get a little bit grumpy about it. He said, but no problem. You carry on, enjoy your brew, have a good video, look after yourself. I went off. And I've seen him 2 or 3 times since, and he's always like, you know what, mate? Not an issue. So again, it's sometimes how you interact with people. It's that I teach de-escalation always. De-escalate, 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 de-escalate. If somebody comes at you like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Hands up. "Sorry, mate. Didn't realise I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm just And you quite often, if you're polite and friendly with your approach back, you start to wind it down because they're only being aggressive because they're worried that you're going to be aggressive back. And as soon as you show you're calm, relaxed, and you're not going to be aggressive, it starts to bring them down, and in bringing them down, you find you then start chatting, you start talking. Oh, what wonderful woodlands you got here! I didn't realise it was private. I am sorry, I'll leave. And you'll find, and I don't know if log hoppers have ever found it with people. Sometimes you'll actually find people turn around and go, "Well, do you know what? Stop tonight. Don't make a mess and all the rest of it. And yeah, on your way tomorrow." It's that sort of thing. It's how you deal with people, and if you can de-escalate the situation, it's better. So many people today will fire straight back with, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that just, and as soon as you've lit the blue touch paper to that angry rocket, there is no coming back because it just starts to accelerate away. Yeah, it's how you deal with it, and it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. You will always find that old one or two that are just not going to have it, and they're going to be shirty with you. But yeah, it's surprising how often you can calm things down. I used to get it all the time when I worked for the MOD, when we were managing ranges and training areas, forever finding people in places they shouldn't be, and I was always polite and friendly about it. I'd go, "Excuse me, guys, can't be on here. Red flags are up. That means bullets are going down there." Explain to them the reasons, and you get some, fuck off, fuck off. All right, fine, you keep going. Just before you go, can you tell me what your faith is so I know what to say over your body before I kick it into the ditch when you get it by straight round? Hey, hey, you know, you just gotta, yeah, de-escalate it if you can. It does. It does. Thank you so much. It's trying to be thoughtful. Okay, trying to be thoughtful towards other people. It comes about because I used to be an absolute dickhead. Okay, excuse the language. Um, I there was a time in my life when I wasn't a nice person, where I was a lot more aggressive, a lot more assertive, and saw myself as an alpha male. Um, and some very, very clever, decent, intelligent people took that away from me, taught me the actual a better path, and that's what I try and pass on now. I try to be thoughtful. The world's a better place since I've actually started breathing and looking around and trying to see things from another person's point of view and not just my own. Okay, um, I'd love to have the freedom to wild camp, go anywhere and be anywhere in the UK. Would love to. I'd love to see that. However, I have been on the other side of the coin, growing up in farming and working on estates and managed land, whether it be MOD or privately owned, where damage is done. And sometimes that damage can be extremely painful. In the case of one place where there was actually a grove had been created, a natural grove had been created as a monument to a family member. And what they had done, that person didn't want a stone, they didn't want a grave. What they actually wanted was an area of their land cleared, planted up in a certain manner, which was just a lovely natural grove. And that's where their ashes were left. And there were benches set up so the family could come there because it was their private land. The family could come there and think about them and so on. Beautiful place, absolutely beautiful. And in one weekend, a group of the local lads got in there and decided to have a party. The benches got ripped up and burnt, trees got cut down, hacked, absolutely dire. And it wasn't the cost money wise that was the damage, it was the emotional damage it did to the people, how it affected them. Yeah. So, and to the lads that did it, "Yeah, well, they got all the money in the world, they own that land, they're rich." All the rest of it. Well, they weren't particularly rich, but the land was something that had been bequeathed them down through the generations. So, yeah, I always try and see it from other people's point of view. Log hoppers have got the best approach, which is be covert. Don't let people know you're there. Don't upset anybody. Don't get up their nose. Don't do things to draw attention to yourself. and enjoy it. And if you are found, be polite, be friendly, be respectful. And if you're lucky, you might, if you're lucky, might just get the old, no problem, guys. I know where you are. Just chillax and enjoy. Or, in the worst case scenario, what can they do? Could you please move on? That's it, isn't it? That's it, and I think. Yeah, it happens though, and it log hoppers that happen, but that happens doesn't just happen there. That happens in all walks of life, and it happens on both sides as well. So again, it was just one of those terrible things. So, like I say, I see it from both the landowner side of the view, and for me, I also see it from somebody that wants that freedom to access that land, share it, enjoy it, have the pleasure of it. It's just that there's just a minority of absolute, I should say the word, dickheads, that ruin it for the rest of us. Yeah. Well, coming up for 2 hours, I am going to go and phone my mum in a minute, catch up with her. Her eye operation, for those who know, her eye operation, her cataract operation, her left eye, went superbly. She's 3 days into her recovery from that, which means the vision is back. She's had to pop the lens out of her glass because she's got one eye done, the other eye's she's waiting to get done. They do one at a time, obviously. She had to pop the lens out of her glasses. So I had quite an annoyed mum going, I can't get these bloody lenses out. Can't get this bloody lens out. She said, but the stupid thing is, I guarantee you, if I drop my glasses, the bloody lens will break. She said, it won't come out. She said, I can't see to read my book. I'm bloody annoyed. Well, the following day, she phoned me up. And I was like, how you doing, Mum? How's it going? Did you manage? Yeah, she said, got that lens out. Hey, it's superb. Everything's so bright, so clear. I mean, oh, sure. I was able to read the clues on Countdown. So wonderful. My mum's having a great time. It's going well for her. So, yeah, brilliant. Oh, Scoot Lady. Sticks. Sticks is what we call a Northamptonshire ninja. Okay, it's always there, silent in the background. Now, in Northamptonshire, these young men are taken at an early age, and they start by being able to learn to walk on rice paper without leaving a footprint. It is said, and has been said, that the better trained and the older ones are able to pass through brick walls without disturbing any dust. Hello, my darling. How you feeling? All right. All right. Right. So I'm gonna say, bruv. Oh, he's a London ninja, which they're a little bit more loud. Oi, geezer! Get off my bike! Oh dear. A bit of silliness and a bit of fun. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? A little bit of humour, a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a laugh. Get out of my pub. Oh dear me. So, guys, I'll call that quits for today because it's gone on to that time that I'm going to cook something to eat and make nice tea for us both. Kaz has been listening to her new stereo. She's happy. London lemon squeezer. Oh, don't start all the Cockney rhyming slang. Hey, Scoot Lady, thank you so very much. Right, you have a wonderful day. Sussex, yeah, mate, you have an awesome day as well. Sticks, my brother, all the usuals to you. El Croc, mate, take it easy. FU crew, have a great one. Oh, crikey, who else is on there? Who else is on there? Who else is on there? Yes, I don't want to scan back up it. I know, it'll be good sticks. I'll chat to you later on or tomorrow. Yeah, right. Log hoppers, of course. Yeah, night, Kelly. Take it easy, brother. Give Puppy a hug from me. Give your missus a peck on the cheek. Okay. Have a nice, quiet night. Stay warm. Stay safe. Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be a badger. I was looking at the train. I thought, badger. It's going to be a badger. It's going to be a woodland badger. So there we go. Chronically, how you doing, mate? Oh, no. Sorry, dude. Yeah, we're just winding up now. It wasn't one that was scheduled. This was just literally a random one because I needed a bit of a pickup. Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. So anybody who joined us late, all is good. Mickey's dates come forward 23rd. Just wanted to let you know we will be live on the 22nd of this month. That will be called the Kidney's Last Review. That's his last chance to actually be live on YouTube. And we will be back the following week. So there we go. Guys, stay safe, take care, be good, be happy, love those you do, forgive those you don't. And as always, may peace, light, and joy be upon you all, especially this season. Take care. That's it. Oh, pardon me. Didn't mean to do that.